everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of Talk Spicy to Me, and we have guest star Bella Matthews with us, who is one of my closest friends from inside and outside the book world, and she readily agreed to join our podcast, so we have tons of questions for her, but I'll probably not be answering or giving too much input just because I am like her. Yeah. Exactly. So it'll be a fun episode.
I might have to then just become more popular and just drive down to her home and sit on the front porch like, hi.
Okay. I almost texted Allie last week because we were in Atlantic City for dinner and there were little cheerleaders, and I swear to God, I think they were from her town. And there was a big competition because they had like the name of the towns on the shirt. Yeah. I was like, I wonder if she's here.
That would have been funny.
That would be right up her alley because you know she loves her sports. So.
Right.
The Mini Royals haven't started cheer yet, though, but I think she's going to put them in. So
I thought one of them did. Okay.
I think that she's starting both of them at the same time. I could be totally talking out of my ass, but I am pretty sure that they haven't started yet. But let's get down to it. So tell us about yourself and your books.
About myself. I'm always really bad at this. Let's see. I am...
Introduce yourself as an author.
What was that?
Introduce yourself as an author. Start there.
Well, I'm an author. I have been a published author for only a little over a year. I started writing about, 18-ish months ago, I guess. I'm a mom of 3 boys, so my house is constantly insane. So I like to kind of shut it all off and write. I just ignore them because, it's what you have to do.
Bless your soul, because 3 boys. I had told my husband if my daughter was a boy, I was moving out.
Oh, it's so insane. It's just absolutely insane. And it is sports like nonstop. Brinos. My little guy just started his soccer season back up. He will legitimately have soccer 6 days a week. So my laptop is my best friend. It goes with me everywhere so that I can write.
I'm like, let's just send her.
I know, it's crazy. But it's life. But I don't live that far from you. I'm at, a couple hours. It's Jersey,
Jersey girls.
Yeah.
Unite.
Exactly. I actually grew up about 20 minutes outside of Philly on the Jersey side of the bridge. And I write Philly romance. So all my books take place in Philly or around there in my own little world. And it's all based on places I've been to, towns that I know, colleges that somebody has gone to, or schools or things like that.
That's so cool.
I love that.
I love when people write about, I guess it's what they say, write what you know, but it's what I know. So when anybody has anything to do with Jersey or Philly or the tri-state area, I'm like, yep, that's here. That's here.
Mm-hmm.
We don't pump our own gas. We're the craziest drivers. We have attitudes like nobody's business. We just have no fucks to give.
Foul language.
Yeah. No fucks to give. And I was a sailor in my last life.
Are you allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, we are
If we weren't, we would not be able to do this podcast because that is Heather's first language.
Well, thank goodness.
We are explicit because of me.
3 is not explicit. I have constant potty mouth on my voice memos to Brie, and she never curses. If she curses, I know something has gone down.
Right. She's now cursing more because of me.
High.
And I feel so proud.
Right. The little girl has grown.
F-bomb mom right here, but the C word is my favorite, and it comes out just fluently. I'm all about it. So feel free to let your freak flag fly because we got it.
Exactly.
Sorry, that's all. Watch it, but at least I don't have to feel bad.
I hope everyone has headphones in and they're not listening during their pickup of their kid with the speakers.
It's too late now.
That's true. Very true.
If they are, then they know now.
Yes.
Put those headphones in.
Yeah. Not suitable for work or cars.
No. Okay, so how far are you going to grow the world in the Restless King series?
In the Restless King series, I think by the time it's done, it's going to be 8 books.
So excited.
Nice.
No, that one will be huge, but there will be other books interspersed amongst that one. So book 2 comes out in a week. Book 3 is in May, and then I take a break, and we're getting Cooper's duet from the Kings of Croydon Hills series. And then I
still have to read that one.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. And the cover is to die for. Woo! Or at least
it's so good.
Right?
More.
Yes, he's
right.
We have had that image now for well over, I don't even know, ages. And then I have a surprise series that will be starting in December that'll all be in the same universe, all be in the same timeline. So like you'll get one of these and then we'll go back to the Kingstons and then you might get something else but it will always be same universe, same timeline. So it's not gonna, you still might get some Kingston info in there, even if they're not the main characters. Because I think the Kingstons are insane. I don't know if I could write 8 straight books of just Kingstons.
They would drive you crazy. Like,
yes, their dynamic is
just
insane.
a little taste you get of them. And like Sam and Amelia's book, I'm like, as soon as I met all of them, like in that group family text, I'm like, I need all of their books. Like, I love them.
Mission accomplished.
Just to recap, we all read Rise of the King, which is the first book in the Restless King series. And we have the first 4 books before that are the first series for Bella's. And that's the Kings of Croydon Hills. That's sports romance. But the first book we read was Mafia, Rise of the King. And so this month is Mafia themed. And Rise of the King definitely fits in that boat. But
oh my God.
Just to recap, because I don't want the listeners to be like, wait a minute, where do I start?
Yes. So, like speaking of the Mafia, the original books that you started writing were sports.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to go from sports to Mafia?
Incredibly.
And what made you decide to do that?
It was the character. I introduced the idea of Sam in the very first book I ever wrote. He was mentioned as Sebastian's older brother, and it was very much on the down low, like, oh, well, his family's connected. So it was there. And from that book, I was like, I can't wait to tell his story. And then he was introduced on page for the first time in book 3 of that series, Always Earned. And just that little snippet, it was in one scene, but that snippet of getting to write him without even being in his mind, I was in somebody else's mind at the time, but it was just like, oh my God, I can remember writing that scene and like sending it to Brie and being like, oh my gosh, you're going to die when you read the scene I just wrote. And from there on, I couldn't wait. I was just so happy to do it. But then once I did it, I struggled because I have a hard time writing dark. So that was hard for me. And I actually, Jen, I never say Jen's last name right, Wolfel, that organizes Indies Invade Philly, stepped up and beta read for me for that one too, along with my normal betas, because she is all about Philly Mafia, like real Philly Mafia. Her and my husband could have hours-long conversations about the history of Philly Mafia. And every chapter came back and she'd be like, you have to go darker. I need darker. This is so hard.
That's so cool, though. I have a friend from college, and her mom came from a very I don't want to say mafia influenced family, but the first time that her dad met her mom's parents, he made a joke or whatever, and her mom was like, great, you just made that poor man get cement shoes at the bottom of a lake. It was completely a joke, but this poor guy, Irish redhead, named the entire Italian family, and he was like, I'm sorry, I did what? So I can totally see if someone's not really familiar with the mafia world, they are cutthroat people in the real life and in books. So being able to put that onto paper.
Yeah, it was, it was interesting. I have some family that knows some people. I did some interviews and, it was an interesting process. And then you
yeah, right. Know some people.
Right. Or you just watch The Sopranos and drive up to, all of the places where The Sopranos were filmed and get some influence.
That's what my husband wanted. He wanted us to re-binge it, and I was like, "No, I'm good. I don't need to."
So funny. You know what? He can FaceTime my husband because I come home from work every day and he's watching it, and I'm like, again, like. Okay.
Yeah, I love that this time. I don't know that I could watch that again.
Yeah, like I'm good. I watched everybody die the first time around.
Right,
You
exactly.
don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you like in your mafia books, Bella?
What do I like in my mom? Well, I love a bossy alpha male. Like, I just, in real life, would I want somebody to put their, hand around my throat and shove me up against the wall before they screw my
Oh,
brains
we're
out?
not volunteering. Okay, sorry, I'll put my hand down.
Life, I don't know that I would. Well, yeah. But in a book, like, that's what I want. I want a bossy alpha male. I want somebody that's going to burn the city to the ground for his queen.
Yes.
And I had fun with that aspect of it. And I like somebody that's not afraid to, like, I want him to be deadly and I want him to be ruthless and I want all those things, but I don't want him to be that way with her. Like
Right.
that.
Oh my gosh, that was Sam.
Yes.
That was literally Sam. Like the line, I think the line I wrote to introduce my review was where he told her, "The city kneels before me, but I will only kneel before you." And I was like, "Oh,
That's my
your husband, baby daddy, right there."
mission accomplished. That is legitimately my favorite line in the entire book. I loved that.
Mine too. I was
Yep.
like, "Oh, I love it."
Jasmine, you know that you like the other line where it was like, hop up here.
Oh yes, that's my first favorite. Yeah, that's my first favorite.
That my husband
You're right,
came up
you're
with
right.
that line.
Yes.
Credit for that. I have like a gazillion-year-old chair in my office that kind of sits in the corner. And everybody, when they come in, I'm in my office 12, 14 hours a day some days. And like, so the kids come home from school, they sit there. My husband comes home from work, he'll sit there. He's not watching somebody's sports. And I was in the middle of that scene and I was like, okay, so this is what's going on. What should he say? And that was, word for word from his mouth. I'm like,
I love it.
I can't claim
That's
that.
so awesome. That's so awesome.
He probably
Sam
die
is
if he
definitely
was telling people that.
Sam is so good though at being like that bossy, domineering, like
Yes.
cold as heart appearance, even in the other books. But then it's like when he is with Amelia, it's like all just
Like
it's
the world starts and ends with her, and I think that's what I love.
Yes.
And the episode that we had filmed before, just talking about what we ourselves liked in Mafia, it was so funny because right after we finished recording that one, we listened to Rise of the King. And the first thing that I had said is, for me, like, I do not like a doormat heroine. Like, if it's a Mafia book, I want her to be, like, strong. And whether it's, like, strong growing, whereas, like, she may be weak in the beginning and she turns into this badass woman, or she is, like, from the gate, like, I can hold my own. And I think it was, like, chapter 3. And Amelia, just blows it out of the water. I paused my audio, and I literally got on my text message with these two, and I was like,
Yep.
Bella hit the nail on the fucking head. I was like, this is everything. Like, I don't even have to read the rest of it. I was like, this is everything I needed right here.
All the bullets.
Oh, you guys make me so happy. Thank you so much.
It well deserved because I didn't even need anything else. I was like, this is it. I was like, there is no doormat heroine. He is by far like alpha whole, but like king to her queen. So whatever you did that you were doubtful of, there is no doubts because you nailed it.
Thank you so much.
Right.
You have no idea. Those words mean so much to me. I love writing strong women. I really do. That's what I connect with when I read. I don't want to read a doormat heroine either. It's not fun for me because I just get frustrated with them the whole time. And I'm like shaking my Kindle.
Break this thing and throw it up against the wall.
Yeah, I like to write strong women. And it's funny because sometimes readers don't connect with that. Like, they want somebody who's not as strong or somebody who's not going to go for what they want as much. And I was surprised by that. But in some reviews, I've seen people say things along those lines. And I'm always just like, all right, well, I'm sorry it's not for you, but I like writing strong women. Like,
and there's nothing wrong with somebody looking for a more meek person. Either, they connect with them on a different level.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, and like, again, we read all types of tropes, all types of like, different aspects of like storytelling. There's a time and a place for a meek or weak damsel in distress.
right.
But when you got your mafia books, you were going to throw her into a pit of vipers
Right.
and expect her to sit there and be like, oh, Rapunzel, throw down your hair. Like, let me cut that off and like keep on moving.
Mhm.
So
It's like you said, like if she starts off that way, like meek, and she grows, like you said, into this badass heroine, like cool, I can handle that, but I can't. She's not gonna fit in a mafia book meek the whole book.
Yes.
Like she has to have some kind of growth. Like so.
I agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. And also, just from Amelia's background, which you do find out in the prologue, and you do learn more, but just from her background, she had so much happen to her that she had to either suck it up and learn how to move on. Otherwise, she would have never been able to grow. And I don't like characters that don't have any development. And I like to see from start to finish where they came. And, she started off and was throughout very, very strong. But, what she worked on was actually learning how to like feel and how to get her emotions. So in a way, she was even stronger from that. And I love seeing the development from either side.
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
Thank you.
And for the listeners and the people watching out there, the plot twist at the end for Rise of the King, I almost fell off my chair.
I messaged Bree like, yo, what?
Yes.
What?
So, it wasn't just like a straight story. Like and I'm getting better at it. Bree is definitely better than me, but like I'm getting better at catching some of like this could happen or that could happen. That I was not expecting at all. I was like, get the fuck, who? Wait, whose name
Like,
did this?
I had that theory, but I was like, wait, is that what I think it is? Wait.
So, by far, amazing writing just in that aspect alone as well, because there are very few books where I can sit there and be like, oh, damn. Like that. Oh, okay.
I love
This one did it. So for all of the listeners out there, when you listen to or read Rise of the King, which I recommend doing both because the audio just hits different.
Jason Clark, Aaron Mallon, Dream Team.
Right?
He could read me his grocery list.
I agree. Oh
I
my
digress.
great. Like, it just, there was no one else. They were my top picks for that book. I've been so
Perfect.
incredibly lucky that for this whole next year, starting with that book all the way through for the rest of the year, I've gotten my top picks for every book I've got coming out. And
Well, then that kind of leads up to another one because we have another question on who are your favorite narrators? And are you going to look to announce anything special that you want to say to us?
And just to let you know, this does air at the end of March, just to let you know.
oh, okay, yeah, then I totally will. So it was announced. It was announced the last week in February that Joe Arden and Lucy Rivers are narrating Kate and Scarlet, which, like, I can't.
Oh my God.
Excuse me, I'm going to need to go change my panties in a minute. Okay.
It's just, I can't wait to hear it. I actually am a moron, complete moron, and Bree knows I am like one of the most organized people you will ever meet. I live in spreadsheets all day. And I totally goofed up dates. I thought I used One Night Stand Studios for my audio, and I gave the files to them February 1st and was thinking I was getting it back March 1st. Yeah, no, I'm an ass. And they were due February 21st, and I'm not getting it back until March 21st. Lead asshole. I left Bree this message. I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. So anyway, so that's Kate and Scarlet, and I just got confirmation that Sebastian York is narrating Max's book in May.
Oh my gosh. And wait, Max is like older, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Max
Yes.
31. And
Perfect.
I'm okay.
Oh
I
my
have to
gosh.
check my email because I don't even remember who the hell I got for the girl. I was so excited.
Some of my favorites.
I'm going to need to turn the air conditioner on in my house. It's a little warm.
I'm just letting you guys know that that's Daddy Max, by the
Yeah.
way, and he's mine.
Yeah.
He said Joe Arden, and I don't even know if I heard anybody else after that. And they're like, I'm sorry, excuse me, what did you say?
Oh yeah,
I'm
Summer
hungry.
Morton. Summer Morton is the female narrator for that one.
All I need to know is if he says fuck, and how many times he says it in the book, because I'm going to rewind.
Right?
Rewind.
Right. And when we get off this, I'll tell you both who's doing Cooper. But we got to get off this to do that.
We got secrets.
Told me not to give away too much stuff too early.
We got secrets.
Yeah.
Still
I am.
speaking of mafia books, do you have any mafia recommendations for us?
I love Bethany Chris. I haven't read her at this point. It's been probably a year or two. I don't know how some authors, I'm like always in awe of authors that have time to, or not even have time, are able to compartmentalize enough to sit down and read constantly too. I'm not good like that. When I'm
Or
like,
you turn into Allie and she says she retires, so don't do it. You're not allowed to retire either.
no. I just can't, and I'm in awe of authors that can. So it's, I might read a single book a month. And I've been on this crazy shifter kick for quite some time now, and I haven't touched other mafia. I also tend to steer clear when I'm writing something of reading something that's in the same general genre, the same tropes. I kind of like to stay out of that. But Bethany Chris, if you go back, he started with this series called The Filthy Marcellos, and then she did a series called The Chicago Wars. Chicago Wars was amazing. Like, it just was so well developed, and the twists and turns and everything. I would highly recommend that series.
How's the spice?
And then she did second gens after that, and that was incredible too.
Oh, I love second gen.
Oh, me
my
too.
gosh.
I'm a sucker for them because I don't want to leave the world.
So does this mean we're going to get second gen?
Oh yes,
too?
yes it does.
Yeah.
So excited.
Jen's notebook. I already have the first book of it plotted.
There is that organization coming out
So
to play.
excited.
Yeah. When you live in complete chaos like I do, you try to control what you can.
Man, I'm going to start taking notes because I need that in my
My
life.
kids are older than yours. You'll have time.
Thank God. Because I might not survive, or they might not survive by the time that they get as old as yours. So we'll see.
All the time. All the time.
In a couple of years, I'll let you know how well my mental state is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how is the spice with the Chicago Wars?
It was spicy. I thought it was pretty spicy. I would say it's pretty equivalent to what I write. Might have been a little spicier.
Oh.
I have to think about it. There might have been at least one that was a little spicier. Let me put it to you this way. There is one book, and like I said, it's been years now. These books have got to be at least 5 or 6 years old. She wrote my favorite line ever. Between a future mafia king, hadn't taken the position yet, and his heroine. And he turned around and said, oh my God, what the hell was it? Get down on your knees and tell me how you pray. Let's just say we're not talking about church.
Well, forgive me, Father, I want to sin.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, I still remember that quote. It is still my favorite book quote because it just, growing up as a good Catholic girl, that quote stuck with me.
That, take me to church playing in my head right now.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got spicy recommendations. I've got it written down.
Right.
All about it.
Exactly.
So what is your favorite trope to read and then write?
I love Brothers Best Friends. I always laugh because my brother's 10 years older than me and he never had a good looking friend to save, for a day in his life. I don't know why I love it. I don't know why I connect with it. There's just something about that trope that I freaking love.
No, that's the same for me. Like, my brothers are younger than me. Like, I would never look at their friends. Like, but I love that
His friends crushed on me, but I was like, ew, no. No.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but I love it. There's just something about that one I love. What's my favorite one to write? That's always that was the very first book I wrote, and that's always my answer. That was my favorite to write. Something about that. I think because I've enjoyed reading them so much that it was so easy to write it for me that's probably it. Now the
And
one
you get to like fulfill the fantasy that was never real life anyway. So
the book I'm releasing, well, the book that just came out, if this is going to be live the end of March, the book that just came out March 10th is also Brother's Best Friend, but it's done very differently than the first one I did. I'll just leave it at that.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'm also excited. Okay. So what are you currently working on, and do you have any teasers?
That was my question. That I want you to give us a teaser.
Oh, I just asked that question. What are you talking about?
No.
Ringo's
I'm letting you
Road.
give us a teaser.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to say you if you got them, go ahead because there were a couple good ones. So the next book I'm working on right now is called Fallen King. It's Max's story. You do get the first chapter of it at the end of Broken King, so you'll know at that point.
That is like the best, and that is like the best tease ever. Like
I love
after I read like Scarlett's first chapter, I was ready to go. I went to Goodreads and Amazon. I was like, wait, it's not out yet? What?
Hopefully you got it now though, because you were amazing.
I do.
My art team, I was Reed sent me that message. I was like, hell yes, let's get it.
So exciting.
I'm excited for that one. I forget what the hell the question was at this. Oh, the teasers. So anyway, yeah. Fallen King's coming out at the end of May. I almost said March, or yeah, late May.
It's my birthday.
Oh, send it to you.
I got a daddy for my birthday. Okay, I got this.
Daddy Max. That's what Bree keeps calling him. He is the oldest of the. I think it's now 9 Kingston. I didn't get much sleep last night. He's the oldest. He's like, I don't know how to explain Daddy Max. He just is very protective and he's very type A and he's always been the one in charge. And then he meets, his leading lady. And of course, life explodes. So, yeah, it's a surprise right now. Well, again, it'll be out by then. But, yeah, so there's stuff that happens in the next book that kind of leads to it. I do make sure that all of my books can be read as standalones, but if you like the family dynamic, it's always good to go back and start from the beginning because the family dynamic, that's my favorite thing to write, period, is the big family dynamic, whether it's actual family or friends that are family. I love the big family scenes. I love the scenes when they're eating or when they're all just screwing off together, and it makes me happy.
Or like the group text. Like
Yes.
Those are like my favorite. You see everybody's like personality. Like I love it.
Oh yes,
You're gonna get so much more.
Yes,
That's like real life for me, so I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
It's just
I love those.
It's there's something about that that's very much inspired by that old TV show Brothers and Sisters. Like the way that they were so codependent on that show. Somebody actually said something like that in a review after Rise of the King, I think. Or it might have even been Under Pressure when we first met the Kingstons. And I was like, yes. Like I had watched way too much Brothers and Sisters when I was binging something this summer and I came up with the Kingstons, or 2 summers ago, whatever it was. I think that's where they came from. That's where they were born.
In the Kings of Croydon Hill series, which is the first series, there's so much of that texting group dynamic, and it's so funny because they're not related, the people involved in the stories, but they act as a family. And then in the Kingstons, the Reckless King series, or Restless King series, sorry, they are related. So it's so funny. Like with siblings, I feel like you can almost kind of take it another level where you're like, you idiot, but like you don't mean it. But it's so good.
Oh yeah. Oh, Max's nickname is MaxiPad. That's what they all,
Like
That's what they call him. They call him MaxiPad because what would you do with your oldest brother, especially the oldest of 8 or 9? You would torture the hell out of him, especially the one.
the name just set him up for that.
Right?
That's funny.
They're awful, but it's so much fun to read.
That's funny. And see, I'm an only child, so like I know nothing about like siblings, older, younger, anything like that. And my husband is the youngest of 4. So like his siblings are like my first real experiences, like, having brothers or a sister. And it's like, the dynamic, like, I am surprised that he survived life. Like, the type of shit that siblings do to each other. And then even, like, my best friend, she has an older brother. And when I was pregnant with my first, or no, I was pregnant with my second, and my first was only a baby. And, like, she was literally, like, they were threatening to, like, set each other on fire. And I was like, is this what happens? But then, like, my brother-in-law set my sister-in-law on fire. So I'm like, look, like, maybe this sibling thing isn't, like, what to do with my life.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the oldest of four, and when I was younger, I was not happy about having a sibling. So, what did I try to? I think my mom said I tried to stab her with a fork. So, yeah,
God.
siblings do crazy things to each other.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I cannot confirm or deny those allegations, but they're out there.
I see. The worst that I did was, like, I threw my cat down the stairs, and it wasn't even long stairs. Like, come on.
I broke my brother's arm. My brother's 10 years old, and I forget. I think I had stolen something from his bedroom. I was like 12 years old. So, or no, couldn't even have been, because he moved out he graduated when I was in 4th grade. So I must have been in like 3rd grade. And I stole something out of his room for, probably a tape. Wouldn't even have been a CD back then. And, right, I'm 44, so I'm myself here. So anyway, he chased me.
I am right there.
Seriously? You look like a baby. Oh my god.
I am much closer. I tell him all the time, I'm old enough for the dad and still young enough for the son.
Yeah.
That is my line. I will say it every week. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, he chased me into my room and I slammed the door shut, or I tried to slam the door shut behind me, and I slammed the door shut on his arm and broke it.
Oh my god.
My mom was going to kill me. Yeah.
Oh my god.
We were both practically raised as only kids because there's such a huge age gap between us. That's why my kids are all 2 years apart. I wanted a bunch of kids and I wanted them all close together.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah.
oldest of 3, and I think one thing that, like, I'm with you, Jazz. Like, I'm not gonna say I did it. I'm not gonna say I didn't do it. But there was a time when we were like, whomever was play fighting, and it got a little too rough. And I think, like, there was an elbow jabbed, and we lived on like the 3rd floor of an apartment. And there was an elbow jabbed, and the window broke, and that person almost fell out the window.
Oh my god.
Like, they were fine. All
Almost
parties
doesn't count. Almost doesn't count. That's
literally, like, quit your whining, get over it. You know, you just.
Yeah.
I feel like I know who's the culprit here.
I don't know what you mean by that, but let's move on.
they're still breathing, but did you die? Like, come on.
Exactly. Did you die? I'm with you. Reedy, you have the teaser? I don't have a teaser up. Did you say you had the teaser? Or do you need
No,
me to
I mean,
pull up?
I mean, like, we could reveal, like, trope-wise, or if you wanted to reveal a teaser. I don't know if right now too much has been said about.
Yeah, no.
Do tell. I'm
So let's see. So because this is coming out after release. So the Kingston family buys the local hockey team too in Scarlettsville, and it ends up that Max is going to run. He's going to be the one, not the GM, like the president of the team, and it ends up being an enemies to lovers. There's a bit of an age gap. There's
Ooh. A lot of deliciousness going on in there.
It's office romance. There's a lot going on in this one.
I love the age gap. I love the office.
No. Age gap and enemies to
Sign
lovers.
me
Like,
up.
Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute. Oh, this sounds fabulous.
If I can get the damn book written, I've been struggling with this one, so.
But I will wait. Don't worry. I will be right here. I'm not going nowhere.
very patient. So, what would you say is the hardest part of authoring for you?
Time management. I haven't given up my day job yet. I'm a bit of a what's the word? Like, I overanalyze everything. So I already know when I'm going to give up the day job, and it's probably not until next year. Just because I decided this was my year of audio, and I still wanted that safety net to put out the level of audio I was putting out for. So it's the time management of making sure that I'm doing a good job for that, making sure I'm doing a good job with authoring, and then, with the insanity of 3 kids, 2 sports, a therapist. My middle guy has autism. So it's the time management of everything, making sure they still see my face from somewhere besides behind.
That's important too. Where's mom? I don't know. I haven't seen her in a real long time.
Right. They usually hear my music that they don't like. That's how they know I'm in here, because I won't wear
Oh,
earbuds.
see, that works.
I need to hear what's going on out there, so I try not to wear my headphones.
Right.
You never
Be
know.
like one ear.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't
monitor.
trust them if I can't hear them.
That's the scariest thing for a mother to ever hear is silence.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
So I am right there. And that goes into like another that was another question that we had, was how you balance it all, because being a mom and a wife, those are full-time jobs right there.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh yeah.
just hands down by themselves. I can't imagine having a full-time working job with a full-time authoring job, because writing, you have to have those creative juices. And honestly, at the end of a workday, and I mean, I have a hybrid workday, or a hybrid work week.
Mhm.
So on the days that I have to go into the office, I come home and I'm like, I don't want to know my name, let alone talk about people who are technically fictional and what their names are. So, that's in and of itself is amazing.
That's like my solace, though. I enjoy getting lost in the words, and I enjoy writing. Generally, the last few weeks, I've been complaining to Brie every day. I'm like, God damn it, Sam is so hard. Or not Sam, Max is driving me crazy. But it's like a reprieve usually. But it's just time management. I mean, I'm very lucky. The majority of the year, my day job is very flexible. I get insanely busy from August to the first week in December. It could be 60 to 70 hours a week because of the kind of team I manage. But the rest of the year is not like that. So it kind of makes up for it, you know what I mean? So I have the flexibility January through the beginning of August. But then I know that what we consider our fourth quarter, I'm kind of screwed. So last year, I planned for that. This year, the majority of my year will be done by then, because Cooper's duets are coming out in August and September. So I will have done the work for them. I'm going to have one release in December, but that will be just about written by the time it starts. It'll just be editing. You know what I mean? So it's planning out the year to make that work.
Well, that is fantastic.
The way you already have your year planned out, that shows how organized you are, because I think I'm to May. And that's just honestly
don't lie, because you
just organize our trips. That's it.
Don't lie. You just have to redo all your arcs from March in your notebook.
We're not even gonna talk about that, because I don't even know if I still got them all.
Oh no!
My note. I keep my arc in my notes in my phone, and I don't know why my phone doesn't have the option for deleted folders and things like Bree. But once mine are gone, they're gone, and so I didn't have all my March arcs.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
And she had 8.
I was gonna say, I see you post all the time. You're not somebody you're not talking about 2 books. Oh my God.
I listen to one and I read one, but most of the time, because I always say I'm drowning in art. So I'm always reading an art, but then the way I get through my TBR is through audio. So that's why I love when I told Bree and Heather, I'm like, can all the authors just do their audios, release them when the book releases, or put it close for me so I can get to it? So I'm excited that you have a lot of audio coming up.
Yes.
I don't think any of them will actually release right at the regular release, because it's the schedules with the narrators.
Most of them aren't. I think that the only one that we've ever come across was Darling Venom, where the audio released 2 days after the actual book did, which I've never seen that happen before. So, yeah. I mean, we're generally prepared.
Not often. I really only know 2 other, outside of Darling Venom, I only know 2 other authors who have either early audio, or it kind of releases a little early audio. So I have no idea how that happens.
I don't know either. Emma Chase does that. Yeah. Hers always early. I don't know how she does that. Yeah, I'm not that lucky. I'll take the narrators when I can get them. So that was how I kind of looked at it. Okay.
Well, you got the good ones.
Yeah, and the ones you have, they are worth waiting for.
Exactly. That's how I'm looking at it.
But
I
this
gotta,
whole
I gotta get
arc ties in really well though, because how did you get into the romance book community, and how did you get to this point where you even wanted to publish your first book?
Um, so when I had just had my third son, my third son was born in July, and my middle son was diagnosed with autism that September. So I went from being this high level sales executive that worked this insane schedule. As soon as my middle guy was diagnosed with autism, I gave my notice and stopped working because we had a lot of therapies for him. We had like 4 or 5 therapists coming to the house a week. We had therapies we were taking him to. And my middle guy was born with his head doing this from torticollis. So he had or not middle, youngest, who was like 2 months old. We had to take him to therapies too. So, in the midst of all of this, you're trying not to have a mental breakdown. 50 Shades of Grey had just started to come out. I think all 3 books were out at that point. But they were still fairly new. And my best friend and I, she has 3 girls the same ages as my boys, used to take the kids to the park to walk. And we started talking about books. And we, the 3 of us, I think somebody had given me an iPad, and it was still in the box because they gave it to us when my middle guy was diagnosed. I had an aunt that ran a school district, and she's like, "Oh, iPads are great for kids on the spectrum. You can download all these apps." He was 2. So, we weren't downloading apps. Back then, we didn't know enough about it. Now, when my youngest was 2, he probably could have done everything that we can do now. But anyway, so the book, it was still in the box. So I read, I don't know, maybe the first one, and it ended on that cliffhanger. And I was like, I don't want to have to go to the store to buy this book to find out what the hell happened. So I downloaded the Kindle app, and it started from there. And reading was like my therapy. I always say if it hadn't been for reading, I would have needed therapy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I was able to lose myself in somebody else's words and in their world for a few hours. And that really helped me just to kind of decompress, because it was a very different world. And, we were going through a tremendous amount of change. So then I became this avid reader, and I hadn't been an avid reader in probably, God, that was 13 years ago. No, it wasn't. I'm lying. That was 11 years ago. So it had probably been like 15 years since I had been an avid reader. Once I hit college, I didn't want to read anything because I didn't even want to read the books I was reading for class.
Amen.
Amen. Not at all.
I got back into it, and as I got more into it, I was like, I want to get ARCs. How do I get ARCs? So I started a Bookstagram account, and that's, loved my Bookstagram account. And my husband and I sat down one afternoon with best friends of ours I did everything under like nobody knew who I was for my Bookstagram account. It was not my face. It was not my name. I was really paranoid. And somehow, I think because my best friend followed me, the friends that were here had come across my account. So, of course, one of them was like, "Oh, well, you should do like a podcast, or you should do something with it." And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that." And they were really hounding me to do something. And then lockdown happened, and my middle guy broke our computer. And I was like, I need to get a new computer anyway. My husband's like, you should really think about the podcast thing, because he loves podcasts. And I'm like, I don't think I'm that outgoing. So I got the computer, and he's like, "Are you going to do it?" And I was like, "No, I don't think I will." The computer came, I opened it up, and I was like, you know what? I had this story kind of in my head. And I wrote the first 5 chapters of All In that day. No idea why. I've never wanted to be an author. It's never been something that I thought of. It was never something I really kicked around. I humored my husband by getting a MacBook because he was pushing for this podcast. Because he was like, "You love reading these books. You love talking about these books. You should do this." Which was why I started hounding Bree to do this. I was like, you should totally do a podcast. So I gave in and got the MacBook, and that day, legitimately the day that it came to my house, I opened it up, downloaded Word, and wrote the first 5 chapters of All In.
It's so funny that you say that your husband pushed so hard for your podcast, because literally this podcast started because the 3 of us had gone to Philly, and I had gone home, and my husband was like, telling him that, the 3 of us, and we have another group too, we chat and talk books every day, all day long. It's like, you guys should just do a podcast or something. And I looked at him and I was like, you know what? That's not a dumb idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent both of them a text in our group chat, and I was like, so I have this crazy idea. And, it's not my idea because it's Chris's idea, but it's a crazy idea. And they're like, what? And I was like, so I'm thinking of doing a podcast. Would you guys do it with me? And literally they were like, yes. Like, it wasn't even like a hesitation. It was just like, let's do this shit. So that was how this was born. So it's so funny how, like, your story started off somewhere down that path, and you were just like, no, F that shit. And I'm going to write books instead.
Yeah, I'm an introvert at heart. I like being in my office in my pajamas and nobody having to even hear me. And I am not technologically savvy. Like, I didn't know how to voice memo until my PA taught me how to voice memo. I had no clue. Like, and now that's all I use. I'm in the car in the morning driving my youngest to school, voice memoing Bree, like, fuck this, it's 22 degrees outside. So,
Those are the best though, because I speak now, or I text now in voice memos, and literally I'll get it from Bella Matthews, and she's just like, my butt is still frozen, and I'm waiting for the butt warmer to warm up. I can hear it. Like, I know it's so cold. I know her tone of voice, and in a text, it just doesn't come across the same.
But then I say
you get more emotions in the voice memo.
Oh my God,
Yes.
Like, I really hope you're not driving your brother somewhere right now for what I just said, because what I just said would like traumatize her brother. And she's like,
Oh, yeah, no, our voice memos are not safe most of the time. And then
I make sure my AirPods are in because I literally just don't know
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to be on that video that I'm sent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to be on that voice memo I'm about to play.
Yep.
It's just better to say the entire thing is not suitable for other ears. So
Right.
it's better
any ears. The videos that Bree sends, also not safe for work. I experienced that today.
I send them to Bella too. I'm just like, how is this allowed on Instagram? What?
Oh my God, that one, yes. Yes.
Literally, I was at my desk, and somebody had walked past, and I was like, fucking A. I immediately said to Brie, I'm like, you need to put labels on this, like, not safe for work, Heather. Because me, I'm just like this, la da, fuck, okay, don't la da da that right now, but, like, gotta mentally prepare myself. I'm like, okay, I'm like getting dick pics or something. Like,
I just always assume it's not safe.
Me too.
Exactly.
Be with me, so I always just assume. That's what I get. We don't tend to do it so much, but Savannah will be like, in case there's little ears around. That's my PA. She always warns me because you never know who's in the background. I'm like, no, you're good. It's earbuds. If they're anywhere near me, it's earbuds.
Yeah.
amen. That's what I'm going to start doing all the time, just for everything, just be attached to my head.
Speaking of just spicy things in general, what do you think is the spiciest book of yours at this time? I know, like, they do differ.
I don't know.
I'm ready to
Can I ask you that? What do you think is my spiciest book? Because I was a little surprised. I've seen some people only give Cade and Scarlet 3 little spice guys, and I thought it was spicier than that. So maybe I'm a little warped on what I think is spicy. So what do you think?
I don't know. So I definitely think Cade and Scarlet bring the heat, especially like Chef's Kiss, like their first time, which is like right out of the park. I feel like the fact that there's spice in the beginning brought up the spice factor or the heat for me.
I love
So
that.
I would say Broken King and maybe Rise of the King. I feel like they're both very like top contenders.
Sam had that dirty talk, and for me,
Amen.
if your dirty talk is on point, you're gonna get a whole pepper just for that.
Right?
If you can dirty talk to me good, okay? What we
Amen.
gotta say? Talk that talk to me.
Amen.
Got it.
And I love when they get the D right off the first page. It's like, yes, I don't gotta wait till 80% in. Like, I got this.
Heather is all about the D.
She is.
As we should be. Bring it. Like,
She don't like no cheese and no nut there.
Listen, let's get down to business, people. Come on.
I'm with
Figure
you.
your shit out. Talk later.
I think Always Earned might actually be, spice-wise, one of the spicier books I've written. It kind of gets forgotten, but always earned, never given. I looked at that one as like, that was filthy. If you really look at it, I mean, they fucked constantly, and it was like,
less. Okay.
You are speaking my love language now. I'm sorry.
I mean, and there was some playing, and there was some fun in that one.
Oh, there was.
I am down for it.
And he's like, oh, what's the word? Like, he's like Captain America, where he's just like this wholesome, like football American star. Like, he's just wholesome.
When the wholesome ones be dirty.
And then
Yeah,
it's
raw
like
dog it out, like raunchy. Go for it.
Yeah, he was filthy, but it was fun.
I think that like each book just bring like a different type of spice because they are hot in their own way, and it's like different to the character dynamics. But like each book, you just get it, and I'm personally gonna say like Daddy Max is gonna have like the most heat because I'm gonna force you to give us the most heat.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be like, insert sex scene here, and here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm here for all of it. Just give me all of it. And with my man narrating. Woo. Sweet baby Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be so good.
Your voices. Can't wait.
Do you have what?
Sorry. I was just gonna say that there's one spicy scene in Broken King. I'm screwing up titles now. Yeah, for Kate and Scarlett, and you'll know what I'm talking about. The one, like, the build up after, it's not the very first one, it's the build up to that other one. Remember? And I messaged you and I'm like, I think I just wrote like the hottest scene I've ever written. And then you read it and you were like, yes, you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are my favorite. Like the ones where you need to put the book down and like jump your husband or your boyfriend. It's like, excuse me. Yeah. I'm going to need your assistance right now. I'm going to take care of it myself. Make yourself useful.
No, you know what's funny though? So Mr. Matthews, he like Bella will read out her scenes to him, or like in another situation, like he listened to like the audio and he skips those parts. What?
Well, he doesn't skip it when I'm reading it, but yeah, he did. So Mr. Matthews is he works for the state and he has a state vehicle and he's on call a lot. When he's in the car, he might get calls from his staff. So he got very paranoid. I was so excited when I got Rise of the King, and he is the most supportive man. God bless my husband. We've been together 20 years, and he is still as supportive today as he's probably more supportive now than he ever was before.
Oh, that's amazing.
And when I tell you that I lost my frigging shit when I first heard Jason Clarke's Guess Sam, like I lost any cool I might have possibly had. So he downloaded it and he was listening to it in the car. And yeah, he totally skipped all the steamy scenes because he's like, my worst nightmare is that one of my guys calls me and I can't like turn it the fuck off. And they hear, I'm licking chocolate off of her in the background or whatever the hell it was. And yeah, he skipped them all. Now, when I'm reading it, he does not skip it. He gets very, he's filthy. He'll be like, oh no, baby, go slower. Like, trying to sell it because we've been together 40 years. So we laugh as much as we do anything else. Not 40 years, 20 years. But yeah, listening to it, he skipped them all.
That's funny. That's funny. Oh. Well, did you guys have anything else to ask? Or you don't count?
I know, I'm like asking them, I'm like, I know these answers, but answer them anyway.
Well, Bella, thank you so much. This has been the funniest and best hour ever. And we cannot wait for the books that you have coming out to come out. I will be literally just hanging on the seat of my pants. Just, is it here yet? Is it here yet? So, but thank you so much for coming and talking with us.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.